Okay, so let me talk about the foundation. I feel like a lot of people are watching this, and I feel like, even cross-watching too. So, the foundation is something that you know to be true. It's already been like it has already revealed itself in the previous months, and it's something that you might have a hard time accepting. So first of all, I have here the Three of Swords, and the Three of Swords basically indicates a separation. It could be a physical separation, a divorce, a breakup, or just, a situation where you cannot live with another person anymore. For some of you, you might have been dealing here with a fire sign. This is a Queen of Wands, okay? This is a really honest, loving type of a person. And I feel as if, so, forgive me for saying, but this is somebody that is looking for something to love, looking for something to nurture. They're really caring. They have a good heart. They love, children, animals, and things like that. And I feel as if this is the person where I feel like they did a lot of things behind the scenes that you hadn't thought about. And with their presence no longer in the picture, or with them out of the picture, it started to dawn on you. How do I do this? So and so has always done it in the past, and now you don't know how to do it. And so I feel like this person, when they were in the picture, you might have taken them for granted, or they might have done so much behind the scenes without complaints, without, without wanting that fanfare. And now that they're gone, you're dealing with separation anxiety. So they might be gone for good, or they might be, separated from you for a certain period of time. And you're finding yourself in this state. You're finding yourself like, I can't take care of myself on a practical level. And you're finding yourself like financially, if you shared assets or finances with this person, you're finding yourself kind of like financially drained a little bit as a result of this breakup, as a result of this separation. And then for others, I feel like there was a bad relationship here that has ended with an earth sign. So a Taurus, a Virgo, or a Capricorn. And for whatever reason, this person drained your financial resources, okay? We have here the King of Cups in the reverse. And when it's in the upright, it's a very, very noble, a very nurturing, a very loving person. When it's in the reverse position, I feel like this person spent beyond their means. And if you live with them and share assets with them, they might have spent your money thinking that it was appropriate, or they might have been really, really extravagant with money. So the two of you had trouble saving money. So it feels almost like once they're out of your life, financially, things really perked up. Things really picked up. And that's when you know energetically that you're with the wrong person, because they block other blessings from coming into your life. So I feel like this might have been somebody from the past. Okay. And because you have dealt with this person, this person that, that you had to take care of, it's really nice for you when you meet somebody that is willing to take care of you. So when you're in a space where you have a partner that really is, they're very thoughtful, they're very considerate, they take care of things behind the scenes, they don't complain, and they do everything for you, it makes you feel really appreciative. But I also have to say, Scorpio, and I mentioned this with the Aquarius reading, a lot of the times, when we oscillate from one extreme to the other, we learn to appreciate the good person. We learn to appreciate the right thing. So what I mean by this is, I feel like you had a partner in your past that you had to take care of. And now that that person's out of the picture, you're going to the opposite end of the extreme, where you have somebody that is taking care of you. And so I have to ask you, why does it have to be so extreme? Are we capable and fully, capable of taking care of ourselves? And so if you're with somebody because you're just like, oh, they're so different from my ex, I had to take care of my ex, whereas this person is taking care of me, you want to really think about, the real reason why you are in that relationship, and whether or not you love them, or whether or not you don't mind you just being taken care of. And you're not the type to, allow other people to take care of you and just, take advantage of them. I don't feel that's the case, but you want to examine, why do things have to be so extreme? Why is it like one end of the spectrum to the other? Can you find somebody that can meet you halfway, that can, do the give and take with you in equal increments so that it doesn't have to be so unbalanced all the time? So just be careful about that. I'm seeing this as well. If you were in a relationship with somebody that, couldn't take care of themselves, and towards the end of that relationship, I feel like you were very resentful. I also want to say that I feel like, you're a sign that really cares about control. And I also feel like when you're with somebody that can't take care of themselves, that seems out of control, it allows you to be the person to step up, to be in control. So in a way, it's almost like your emotional needs were being met because you wanted control. You wanted to take care of another person, and you wanted to be that pillar of strength in that relationship. And if that sounds familiar, what we have to really think about is the equal give and take in a relationship. And we have to really think about as well that relationship is a two-way street. Okay, a healthy relationship cannot be built when one person is doing everything. Okay, that can be you, even if you don't mind it. I just feel like that's very unbalanced. And then it could be the other person, if they feel like they're the one doing everything behind the scenes and they're not getting the reciprocity, they can become very very resentful. So the resentment, I feel, is coming in belatedly, but there are some deep innate issues that you need to look out for when you start dating, okay? We're not supposed to be here to play martyr for anybody else, to take care of other people and to, do that. It's a two-way street. So I want you to be careful of that, okay, Scorpios? Let me talk about the crowning energy. We have here an air sign. So this is somebody that some of you are thinking about. So this is an Aquarius, a Gemini, or a Libra, sun, moon, or rising. And this is someone who is really, really honest, very intelligent, very smart. They might like animals. Based on this deck, I feel like this is somebody that cares about communication, and they care about not just that they're right or who's right and who's wrong, but I feel like they want to get to the bottom of things. They're operating from the positive side of an air sign, where they care, but they also will ask you questions to make sure that you have thought things through. So they're not just, blindly going to support you. They're going to ask you follow-up questions. They are also a source of a wealth of information. So if you really want to get unbiased feedback, unbiased opinions, unbiased advice, you definitely can come to this person. And I feel like you really appreciate this person, and you know that they have a lot to offer. It's linked up here with the Nine of Coins, and the Nine of Coins is sort of like the single person. So I feel like some of you are still heavily involved with this air sign. You could be still romantically linked up with them. And because you feel like this person is very abundant. They have a lot of financial backing. They have a lot of skills. They're incredibly intelligent, and they're just very prosperous all the way around. So I feel like you're involved with this person and you really like them. And then for others of you, you have this person in your midst and you're trying to figure out, do they like me? Should I, give it a try? I feel like the answer is yes, because with the Nine of Pentacles, it's basically somebody that, it's somebody who's very attractive, and they have a lot of suitors. So I feel like it would be in your best interest to try to make a move before they're snatched up. And then I feel for some of you who are thinking about this person, you might have been broken up. You're thinking that this person might get snatched up very quickly if you don't make a move, or if you let them go in some way. Okay, so there's this, you're assessing this person and you're thinking, this is a really good catch. I want to keep them by my side. I want to have them in my pocket almost. And so I want to urge you again, is it really love? Or is it just this sense of possessiveness? Okay, so be careful about that, Scorpios. In the past, we have here the Page of Cups and the Temperance card. So Scorpios, you were dealing with somebody that was potentially very toxic. The Page of Cups, I don't feel like it's necessarily a water sign. It could be, but I don't feel like it's a water sign. I feel like there is somebody that had a lot of issues with emotional ups and down, emotional regulation, emotional like modulation. So they might have, they might have issues when it comes to alcoholism. They might have had issues when it comes to prescription medication. They might have had some issues and like emotional swings, like depression, anxiety, things like that. And so the spectrum is very broad, but I feel like you were dealing with somebody that, at their best, they're very sweet and very caring here, like the Page of Cups. But at their worst, they can be very jealous, very untrusting, very, I want to say like a little bit on the vindictive side. They might withhold affection. They might run away when things get rough, when the reality hits. They don't know how to regulate their emotional responses. So I feel like you were dealing with somebody like that in the past. And just out of sheer self-preservation, I feel like you had to let this go. And so I don't feel like it's a bad person, but I feel like they have some issues that they needed to work through. And I also feel like you might even have children with this person. And just for the whole, idea of self-preservation, you had to let the relationship go because it was bringing you down with it. Okay. Which brings us to the present moment. We have here the Eight of Coins, which is you focusing heavily on rebuilding your empire, rebuilding your wealth, looking at opportunities as well as job opportunities and even dating opportunities from outside. So this is kind of like the magician in the making. You have a lot of opportunities coming through. You might even be sending out pieces of yourself to the world, like to other people, such as online dating. Kind of like getting your feet wet, talking to some people, talking to a few people that might be soliciting you for dates. So I feel like some of you are coming into this month newly single, and you have learned that the past was very destabilizing, but with the Fool in the reverse position, this is like doing the same things over and over and over again and expecting different results. So I mentioned earlier, Scorpios, there are a few relationship patterns that you need to try to break. And the first one being, just because you have a shared history with somebody, it doesn't mean like they're good for you. So seeing truly what's really good for you and what's really good for your soul's purpose. And don't be in denial about that. Okay. That's very crucial. So even if you care about this person and they have, a lot of emotional issues that they can't really get out of, that's not going to be a good relationship partner for you. So being careful about that. And then you might have, these extreme patterns when it comes to relationships. And if you're doing the same things over and over and over again, you're not going to be able to achieve what you want. Okay, so be very careful, break these old patterns so that you can achieve a lot more. In the future position, this is what worries me. We have the Death card in the reverse. So you need to make a change here, Scorpios. The Death card in the reverse is you refusing to move on. The Death card and the Fool in the reverse is going back to the past. Okay, revisiting past energies, revisiting past cycles. And so I would urge you, take some time for this month. If you are dating and the people that are coming in, if you're dating them and you feel like, there's something going on with this person. They don't seem like they're emotionally, stable. Just run the other way. Okay. Just don't even bother. It's Mercury in retrograde. So the way that people represent themselves is not really reality. So once the retrograde cycle is over, that's going to be September 5th, you're going to see them in a different light. So if there are already red flags, just run the other way. Just don't even bother. And then for others, I feel like there is a tendency here to keep getting back with exes, to block yourself from new opportunities, getting back with exes, possibly an earth sign or a fire sign, Sagittarius, Aries, or Leo, and then Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus, not being able to move on. And so I feel like some of you with an air sign. So this is Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. It looks very good, but I want to ask you, it seems like it's a very possessive type of a relationship. It's almost like you want them in your pocket, but are you able to establish that emotional connection with them? Do you feel emotionally fulfilled in this relationship? I don't feel that you are. So even though you like them, it seems to me more of a conquest than a deep-rooted, emotionally nurturing relationship. So I just want to bring these things to your attention so that you can behave and act accordingly, okay? Cycles need to be broken for sure. So err on the side of an egalitarian relationship where both parties can contribute equally. So don't let one person do all the work, you or them, because that's a foundation of an unhealthy relationship, okay? And it can breed a lot of resentment down the line, okay? So Scorpios, I wish you all the best. Take care of yourself, okay?